Welcome to the Property Management Playbook. I'm Bo Evans. Before we get into today's topic, let's take a look at this month's PM Intelligence Update. A brief look at developments that may affect property managers in Alabama and other states. This month, there are 3 developments that property managers in Alabama should be paying attention to. First, House Bill 80, currently in the legislature. This bill would clarify eviction procedures, including required language about tenant personal property after a court-ordered eviction. If passed, enforcement would become more predictable, which is a good thing. However, lease templates and notice procedures may need to be updated. Watch this bill for final passage and effective dates in the bill. Second, pricing and fee disclosures. Now, most of these cases have involved large management companies, most of whom don't have any presence in Alabama. However, when they have a settlement, those compliance standards will apply broadly. So, we need to know that transparent pricing and full fee disclosure matter. So monitor this situation for settlements and updated guidance on how that can be carried out. Third, data centers and zoning. Data centers are a huge issue throughout Alabama and the South and are only going to get bigger. Large industrial expansion can influence rentals, as we all know, can influence rental demand, rental pricing, and supply. Infrastructure planning can certainly have an influence on housing supply and rental supply. And utility costs can affect your tenants. What you need to monitor here are zoning updates and local market reactions to those. This has become big news in several Alabama cities and will only become bigger news down the road. Look, folks, these updates aren't about headlines. They're providing you with operational awareness. Now, let's talk about whether self-managing a rental property is actually worth it. Usually, this conversation begins and ends with money. People ask, why should I pay 10% when I can do it myself? And that's a reasonable question. But the answer isn't about percentages or even money for that matter. It's about trade-offs. There are 5 variables that you should pay attention to. First is time. Second, vacancy exposure. Third, legal risk. And fourth, vendor coordination, and finally, fifth, the emotional load this will take. Let's talk about that first variable, time. Everybody knows time is money. On a calm month, managing a rental property is pretty easy. It only takes a few hours and it's done. However, that's not normal. Leasing months look different. Move-outs look different. Maintenance repairs, emergency repairs, they look different. Time has an opportunity cost, and you should be aware of that. How much of your time are you spending on your rental that you could be spending someplace else? And frankly, what are you getting paid per hour to do that? Vacancy exposure is another cost. I personally believe vacancy may be the most underestimated cost in rental management and ownership. A few extra weeks without a tenant can cost you months of brokerage fees. This isn't marketing language, folks. It's math. Third, the legal aspects of owning rental property and managing it yourself can be very expensive. Lawyers cost money, courts cost money, and time. This isn't being dramatic, folks. this is being procedural. Lease language and how you enforce your lease, notice timing, repair documentation, fair housing inconsistencies, all of this. Most disputes in property management arise over inconsistent documentation. Fourth, vendor coordination. This is a big one, folks. When something breaks, it's got to be fixed. And sometimes it's an emergency situation and it's got to be fixed pretty quickly. Who makes that call? Who schedules the repair? Who verifies quality? Sometimes, even if you could do the work yourself, you still have to hire trained professional technicians who are licensed or certified to do the work. Coordination is a system, and as complexity increases, coordination multiplies. Finally, the emotional load that can be borne by managing your property yourself. Things like late rent conversations, maintenance frustration, boundary enforcement. Stress has a cost to it, folks. I can tell you personally, right? Take that into account. Self-managing isn't about capability. Almost every landlord is perfectly capable of managing their property on their own. The real question is whether you have the time, the structure, and the risk tolerance for doing it and managing it consistently. The wrong decision isn't self-managing. It's fine. You can do it. The wrong decision is deciding to do that without clarity, without taking all of the variables into account. Structure drives performance. Clarity improves responses and decisions. And that is the focus of this channel. This has been the Property Management Playbook. I'm Bo Evans. Hopefully, this has helped you in your property ownership and your property management business. Until next time.